Belfoy, your cheerleader of dreams. Hey, if you've never subscribed to this podcast, just push the little red button right there to get consistent teaching, tools, and tips to help you live your dreams. Today, I want to talk to you about how to make the right decision. You know, your destiny is a direct result of your next decision. How things happen over the next 2 years or 20 years, it's going to be a result of the decisions you make right now. In fact, Robert Kiyosaki said, you and only you are responsible for your life choices and decisions. Of course, we know that, but let me just ask you, what is God telling you to do? If you get honest with yourself, did God tell you to write a book 5 years ago? If so, make a decision to do it. Did he tell you to start a business, to purchase offices? Maybe he told you to move locations, to resign a position, to get out of a wrong relationship. Maybe he told you to build a house or an office or a church or to launch a podcast. Maybe he's instructed you to start a blog or to start a ministry. What about supporting a ministry or financing the gospel with your business? Maybe God told you to go back to school, to get a degree or a license to sell houses or style hair or be a nurse. Here's my point. What you've done so far is nothing compared to what you're supposed to be doing. And I'm not just speaking to you, I'm speaking to myself too. But I want to encourage you that it's time to make a decision. Stop deliberating, stop worrying. Do you know that making no decision is still making a decision? I know, that startled me too. When I first heard someone say that, I thought, me not making a decision and just sitting here is making a decision. Well, it reminds me of the story of the 4 lepers who were sitting outside the city gate, and they're sitting there thinking about their situation, and it dawned on them. We're going to die from leprosy anyway, or we could die trying. We might as well get up and go for our dream. Finally, one of them piped up and said, are we just going to sit here until we die? Now think about it. Sitting outside the gate was a place of transition where the lepers were sitting. They didn't know, that they were 24 hours from the greatest miracle they'd ever seen, but it required a decision to transition from a place of comfort, security, safety. Think about that, and then go for their dream. Well, if you've heard the story, God came through for them, made them sound like a mighty army on the march because they got up and they went after what belonged to them. They were fearless. Well, I heard T.D. Jakes say, the moment you make up your mind that you're going somewhere, you become a threat to the enemy. God will actually cause you to be perceived as mightier than you are. Now, when you think about it, those lepers, they were not mighty men. They were 4 old, tired, hungry, sick, desperate lepers. Well, do you know that your enemies see something great in you that you don't even see in yourself? That's what it takes to achieve big dreams. You don't know if this thing's gonna take you out or take you over. But like T.D. Jakes says, this is where faith begins to flourish. Well, I like this example I heard about a water hose. Have you ever used a water hose to wash your car or something? And maybe you hold the hose and it sprays about 3 or 4 feet. But when you really want it to go further, you squeeze the end of it. You put your thumb on the end of the hose and you actually restrict the water. Now, you would think that the restricting would make it come out less, but it actually makes it go further than it did without the pressure. See, Satan thinks the pressure that you're going through is going to stop you from following through with your decision. And let me tell you, he hopes it does. But I want you to know, if you allow God to help you, it's only going to make you shoot out further. So the pressure is going to launch you out of your comfort zone and into your destiny. In fact, let me just warn you, don't make a permanent decision on temporary feelings. Like Joyce Meyer says, feelings are fickle. They change. But making the right decision to not settle, not stay comfortable, to not allow the pressure to convince you to quit, it's going to require 4 little words from you. A little bit more. That's it, a little bit more. Successful people do what's expected of them plus a little bit more. In fact, Charles Kendall Adams said this, no one ever attains very imminent success by simply doing what is required of him. It's the amount of excellence of what is over and above the required that determines greatness. Well, Will Smith said the same thing pretty much. He said, the separation of talent and skill is one of the greatest misunderstood concepts for anyone who wants to excel and achieve their dreams. He said, talent comes naturally. skill is only developed by hours and hours and hours of beating on your craft. He said, I've never really reviewed myself as particularly talented. He said, where I excel is with ridiculous, sickening work ethic. He said, while the other guy's sleeping, I'm working. While the other guy's eating, I'm working. Well, Barbara Corcoran, she said, there is no reserve sign on success. Work your buns off, she said. Push yourself. Elon Musk, the Iron Man, he said, if everyone else is putting in 40-hour work weeks, you put in 80-hour work weeks. He said it all improves the odds of success. Well, the Bible says, to whom much is given, much is required. Well, how do you make the right decision? Let me just say, if it's comfortable, you're probably settling somewhere you don't belong. If it challenges you, makes you feel awkward, unqualified, uncomfortable, but deep down you know it's right, then make the decision to get up, go the extra mile, and go for it. I heard somebody say one time, comfort and convenience run the lives of unsuccessful people. I know, I don't like it either, but the difference between ordinary and extraordinary is that little word extra. In fact, let me close out with this poet, William Arthur Ward, a poem that he wrote that I love, and it's all about the key to success. This is what he says. You're going to have to plan while others are playing. Study while others are sleeping. Decide while others are delaying. Prepare while others are daydreaming. Save while others are wasting. Listen while others are talking. Smile while others are frowning. Commend while others are criticizing. And persist while others are quitting. Well, you've heard the phrase, there are no traffic jams at the extra mile. Tony Robbins said, it's in your moments of decision that your destiny is shaped. So I just wanted to give you a little pep talk today to make the tough decision that you need to make to live your dreams. You know what it is. Now just do it. Your destiny is a result of your next decision. Well, let me just close out with our YouTube subscriber of the week. And this week, it's Natalie Stevenson. Natalie says this, thank you, thank you, thank you. She says, you are a cheerleader of dreams. I try to be. She said, I play all your stuff over and over again till it gets down in my soul and my spirit. That's awesome. That's what you have to do. She said, this week I was off track and not being focused. And God used your material to get me back on track again. She said, and just like if you exercise regularly but get off track for a little, it gets easier to get back on track if you were exercising before than if you were totally out of shape. That's true. She said, you're totally helping me get fit in my mind. I love that. Thank you. You and your staff are like a cheerleader and a good coach in a grueling football game. She said, in this game of life, it's more important that we know to fulfill our dreams because as Christians, we will make the world a better place and stall the progress of the enemy. I love that. May God bless you guys for what you're doing. Well, Natalie Stevenson, thank you so much for taking the time to write. We're cheering you on to achieve your dreams. And let me just say to everybody, anytime you're getting ready to go to a new level, the next level of your life, it's going to demand leaving a place of comfort. And I don't like it at all. But I want to help you step out of your comfort zone so you can go after all that God has for you. I've developed simple yet effective exercises you can do that it's going to challenge you in the best way possible. And I think you're going to have fun too. Just click the link in the description for my Comfort Zone download that's absolutely free, and you can refer to this each day. I truly believe this message can take you from where you are to where you want to be. So for more consistent motivation, be sure to follow me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and Pinterest, and click the little red subscribe button right down there for weekly videos to make this your best year yet. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next week.